Wow, great, beautiful ideas, very nice. Yes. Namaste children, a very hearty welcome for all of you to this wonderful session children. This is in fact the fourth session in this chapter called triangles. In the previous sessions we have learned, can you remember theorem number 2.2, basic proportionality theorem or Thales theorem, theorem number 2.2 which is converse of the basic proportionality theorem, a few worked examples and a problem from exercise 2.2. This is what we have discussed. In fact, we had given homework also children. So, you are asked to work out two worked out examples, exercise number 2.2 with the 10 problems are there. We have requested you to understand each and every problem and to write it in the particular class or book. We strongly believe that we have done all these problems with lot of understanding into that. Okay? Very nice children, congratulations to all of you. Okay, today being the fourth session children, today shall we learn something about the three most important corollaries to which theorem do you know? To the Thales theorem or BPT, basic proportionality theorem, and some of its applications also. Okay. So, in such a case, what do you mean by a corollary? So, let us try to recall and understand the meaning of the term corollary. See, in theorem the equivalent term is prameya. Okay, prameya means theorem. For corollary, the equivalent term in Kannada is upaprameya. So, upa means chikkadada, ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಪ್ರಮೇಯ, ಒಂದು ಪುಟಾಣಿ ಪ್ರಮೇಯಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು corollary ಉಪಪ್ರಮೇಯ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. But let us try to define what do you mean by a corollary. It is this, it is also a theorem. Corollary is also a theorem, okay, which is derived from another main theorem which is self-evident. No proof is required. See the meaning of the word self-evident. Self-evident means not needing to be demonstrated, means it does not require proof at all. So, we can only suggest the proof, it will be so simple and no explanation is required. It will be very obvious provided we would have understood a theorem. So, such a small theorems will be called as a corollary. If you want to compare the word corollary, say from arithmetic, shall we call it like this children? Theorem can be said that it is something like a universal set, it can be compared to universal set, whereas a corollary can be compared to a subset of it. So, such a thing will be called as a corollary. A subset is equivalent to the term corollary. Okay, having understood the meaning of the term corollary, so we will start. Okay, in this triangle ABC, you can observe that DE is parallel to BC as usual. The arrow marks will indicate that they are parallel to each other. Once they are parallel, immediately you must recall BPT. What is that? AD divided by DB is exactly equal to AE divided by EC. This is what our BPT or Thales theorem has told us. Okay. Now, using this, can you manipulate this or find out something extra, go further from this? Okay, how to go about it? It is quite simple. Just you add 1 to both sides children, adding 1 to both sides. Is it possible? Yes, it is definitely possible. Let us do it. Okay. So, AD divided by DB plus 1 is exactly equal to AE divided by AC plus 1. So, this is what meaning of adding 1 to both sides. Okay, now how to add 1 to both sides, children? Yes, you know a fractions and addition of fractions, you know, you assume that 1 as 1 divided by 1 and take LCM for dB and 1. So, definitely the LCM will be dB. So, divide that LCM by the denominator. So, dB by dB is 1, 1 times AD is AD plus dB divided by 1 is dB only, into 1 is dB. So, the numerator is clearly AD plus dB divided by dB is equal to, again on the right hand side, denominator is the LCM. So, the numerator is clearly AE plus EC. Okay. Children, apart from the postulates and axioms, you must be aware of certain rules in geometry which is very neatly given in our textbook. The publication is 2012. In 2012, you can see there are 5 rules are there apart from the postulate. According to it, if say you look at the segment A, B, children, and assume that D is a point on it, then if you add AD and DB, you get the AB only. So, this is according to rule number 2 given in 2012 textbook. You can refer to that also, children. So, now add the numerator AD plus DB you add, okay. AD plus DB is clearly AB by DB, which is equal to AE plus EC. You can see the figure, AE plus AC is clearly AC by rule number 2. So, see this now, so look at the figure. AB means the whole side of the triangle ABC divided by the part below the line D, that is DB, is equivalent to the whole side AC divided by the smaller part segment EC. So, this is what we could understand. See, just by adding just 1 to both the sides of a proportion, we got something extraordinary result. Okay. So, this is one of the important tool. So, by adding 1, we are moving forward. This is called, in fact, in the ratio and proportion chapter, it is called as componendo. So, adding 1 to both sides is called as componendo, and this is called componendo to BPT. So, children, from here onwards, shall we recognize this as corollary number 1 to BPT. So, in future classes, we will just say because of corollary number 1 to BPT, immediately you must recall this figure and this result, that is AB upon DB is exactly equal to AC by EC. It means that if AB is twice the DB, then AC will also be twice EC only, or if AB is 3 times dB, then AC will also be 3 times EC only, children. See, do not mistake that this is true only when AB and AC are equal. It may be equal, may not be equal. We have made it very clear in our figure that AB is smaller than AC. In spite of that, AB divided by DB will be exactly equal to AC by EC. So, this is called corollary number 1. Now, the same figure, these are the first 4 steps that we did it. So, by adding 1 to both the sides of a ratio, we need to understand these concepts, children. Denominator that remain the same, no alteration in the denominator. But secondly, look at the numerator. Numerators are increased by adding 1. In fact, the third point is, by this process, we have added the denominator to the numerator part. So, this is what one should observe during this process of the finding the corollary number 1. So, by adding 1, denominator is unaltered, whereas the numerator has increased. In fact, we have added the denominator to the numerator. Yes. Now, children, see here. So, in the same figure, we have what is that we have understood from the corollary number 1 is AB upon DB is exactly equal to AC upon EC. So, I would like to bring it to your knowledge once again for your information. If AB is twice the length of DB, then AC will be twice the length of EC. This is the meaning. Or in general, if AB is m times DB, then AC will be m times EC only. This is the meaning of the corollary number 1. So, now again D is parallel to BC as usual. So, we have AD divided by DB is equal to AE divided by EC. This is our theorem, and AB divided by DB is equal to AC divided by EC is because of corollary number 1. Children, please compare corollary number 1 with the BPT. Okay. In corollary 1, we are talking of AB and AC. But in BPT, so the segments AD and DB, the ratio between them is equal to AE divided by EC. This is what you need to compare here. Okay, children, is it possible to, would be the converse of this corollary number 1? Can you think, children? In other words, if in any triangle the straight line D is such that AB divided by DB is equal to AC divided by EC, is it possible for you to prove that D is parallel to BC, children? So, please take down this as an activity number 1 and please write down the proof in your book and discuss with your teacher, children. Okay. So, before we move on to the next concept called the next corollary, we need to recall one more important concept, that is reciprocal or multiplicative inverse. So, I would like to tell you what do you mean by inverse, children. Inverse means it is opposite in number 1 or A is direction, opposite in direction or opposite in position also. Numerator becoming denominator, denominator becoming numerator. So, it may be opposite in direction, so or opposite in position also. For that we use the word inverse. Okay. So, let me give the definition for inverse. If the product of two numbers is 1, then we say each element is called as the reciprocal or multiplicative inverse of the other. This is our definition. So, let us take some example. 2 into what, which number will give us the product 1? It is clearly 2 into 1 by 2 is equal to 2 ones are getting cancelled and the product is 1. So, we say that 1 by 2 is clearly the reciprocal of 2. One more example, children. 5 by 6 into what number or what fraction will give us 1? Okay, you put a question like this for yourself. So, 5 by 6, if you multiply by 6 by 5, then what happens? So, is equal to 5 ones are get cancelled, 6 ones are also getting cancelled and the product is clearly 1. Therefore, we say 6 by 5 is called the reciprocal of 5 by 6 and vice versa. So, 1 by 2 is the inverse or reciprocal of 2 and 2 is the inverse of 1 by 2. 6 by 5 is the inverse of 5 by 6 and 5 by 6 is the inverse of 6 by 5. So, having understood the concept of reciprocal or multiplicative inverse, let us come back to this figure once again. So, DE is parallel to BC, therefore, we know AD divided by DB is equal to AE divided by EC. This is our BPT on account of BPT. Now, for this proportion, is it possible to take the reciprocal, children? Okay, what is the reciprocal of AD by DB? Yes, it is DB by AD is equal to, what is the reciprocal of AB by EC? That is equal to EC by AE. So, by taking reciprocal for BPT, so we got this result. So, go to the figure and see DB divided by AD is equal to EC divided by AE. This is called the reciprocal to BPT. Now, having taken the reciprocal, now add 1 to both sides, children. You will get some very interesting result. So, we will do that. So, add 1 to both sides. So, we are writing the number 1 on either side. Take LCM as usual. So, recall the rule number 2. So, add the numerator and in both the cases you get another important result. Come on, look at the figure and try to understand this proportion. Look at the side AB divided by the segment AD is equal to the whole segment AC by AE, children. See, so we took the reciprocal for BPT, then added 1 to both sides, simplified, we got another important result. So from here onwards, we shall call this as, we shall recognize this result as corollary number 2. Okay, but in our textbook, children, corollary number 2 is given as word example number 1. Please open the textbook later and try to understand this still in a better way. How to go back to the theorem, children? Is it possible to reverse this? In other words, if in any triangle, if D is such that AB by AD is equal to AC by AE, is it possible to prove that D is parallel to BC? This is called converse to this. I wish you should take down this as activity number 2. So, try to think about this and write the proof in your classwork book. Okay. Children, this is what we have understood by corollary number 2. So beautiful. Okay, once again the same figure, same triangle ABC in which D is parallel to BC, and we just now understood that AB upon that upper segment AD is equal to AC, the whole length AC upon AE. Children, what is this proportion called as? This is the second corollary. This is what we realized just now. Okay. And in corollary 1 and corollary 2, nothing is about BC and DE, children. Don't you think we should have something comparison between BC and DE also? Shall we explore this? Okay, good. We will come. We will explore this. Yes. Now, you just forget about the segment D for some time and draw, okay, a line like this, EF parallel to AB. Look at the figure in dotted line which is coming in green color. Call this point as F. So, let EF be parallel to AD. I think some of you must have got the answer for how to get BC and D, the relationship between them. Yes, with EF as the parallel to AB, can you not once again apply one of the corollary to the previous corollary to Thales theorem? So, take EF parallel to AB and BC upon BF. See, BC upon BF is equal to, what is that equal to? Come on, see, AC and AE, it is equal to AC divided by AE. So, now we are getting something about BC part, that segment BC base part also we are trying to explore. Okay. Now, this is an account of corollary number 1 to BPT. So, both we are using simultaneously. Now join D and E and see whether DE of B is a parallelogram. Yes, it is a parallelogram, because if two pairs of opposite sides are parallel, then that quadrilateral is called as a parallelogram. And the fundamental property is the opposite sides are equal, therefore, that bottom base BC is equal to DE. So, in that above ratio, in the proportion on the left hand side, in place of BF, can we not write D, children? Definitely is equal to AC by AE. Now compare. So, this left hand side is AC by AE. Here also the left hand side is also AE by AE. So, we know that things which are equal to the same thing are equal to one another. This we call it as axiom number 1. Therefore, we can say AB by AD is equal to BC by DE is also equal to AC by AE. So, we got a wonderful relation between all the three sides of a triangle, and this is a very, very important result. We are able to conclude this because of axiom number 1. So, from here onwards, we shall remember this, we shall call this as corollary number 3. Okay. So, the corollary number 3 is all the sides of triangle ABC are respectively in proportion to all the three sides of triangle ADE, children. What a wonderful result. if just D is parallel to BC, then if AB is twice AD, BC will also be twice DE and AC will be twice AE. So, we now got a wonderful result where we can compare all the sides of a triangle in an order. This is corollary number 3. Okay. Is it possible to generalize this, children, in the form of a statement? Can we state like this? If a straight line is drawn parallel to a side of a triangle, then you divide, then the sides of the intercepted triangle will be proportional to the sides of the given triangle. Intercepted triangle means the triangle ADE is called intercepted triangle. So, the sides of triangle ABC are in proportion to the sides of triangle ADE. This is called the general enunciation of corollary number 3. Children, shall we summarize all the 3 corollaries in the form of a tabular column, children? Here we go, have the same figure. So, look at the figure. See, D is parallel to BC because of our BPT. In such a case, we know AD by DB is exactly equal to AE by EC. So, here are 3 corollaries, corollary number 1, corollary number 2, corollary number 3. Come on, tell me what is corollary number 1? Yes, it is AB divided by DB is equal to AC divided by EC. So, what is corollary number 2, children? AB upon AD is exactly equal to, yes, AC upon AE. So, corollary number 3 is very important. AB upon AD is equal to BC upon DE and it is equal to CA upon EA. These are the 3 corollaries. It is so important. So, draw different triangles and draw a straight line parallel to a side and with a different alphabet and practice these results, children. This is activity number 3 for you. Okay. So, some special notes are there for you, children. If D is parallel to BC, then we know AD upon DB is equal to AA upon EC. This is because of BPT. So, on cross multiplication, see the same result how it looks. If you cross multiply, it is AD into EC is equal to AE into DB, or this can be also written in so many ways. AD into EC divided by AE into DB is equal to 1 because both of them are equal. You can see the previous line, okay, or we can write it separately also, children, like this. In this fashion also you can write AD upon AE into EC upon DB is also equal to 1, or finally we can write it like this, okay. So, AD into EC minus of AE into DB. If you transfer AE into DB to the left hand side, then it will be equal to, the difference will be equal to 0. So, I wish another activity I wanted to give you, practice these special notes for corollaries also, for the 3 corollaries also. Please practice these special notes so that you will be thorough with the theorem. So, now we will go to exercise number 2.2, in particular the 8th problem, children. It states that the line joining the midpoints of any 2 sides of a triangle is parallel to the third side. We have heard this problem in the previous year, can you recall this, children? But the question says you must use theorem number 2. Which is theorem number 2, children, in this chapter? So, theorem number 2 is converse of BPT. Using converse of BPT, the question demands that the midpoint theorem has to be proved. We have to prove this. Recall that we have proved this in 9th standard using concept of congruent triangles. Do you remember this, children? So wonderful. It took lot of time, but now very easily in very few steps only we can prove this. Remember, this is called midpoint theorem, a very famous, very popular theorem. So, here is the triangle ABC, in which point number 1 is this, okay, point number 1. So, AD is equal to DB. You choose a point on AB such that AD is equal to DB. In other words, D should be the midpoint, and so you mark like this also with single line. This is called similar markings. Second point is you measure AC and find exactly the midpoint using scale, children. call it as E and put two lines on AE, at the middle of EC also two lines. This means that AE and EC are equal. We have to prove one thing: if we join D and E, we have to show that DE is parallel to BC. This is what we wanted to prove using the concepts that we have learnt in the previous classes and today also. Okay. What is AD divided by DB, children? Since they are equal, don't you think it is equal to 1? Okay. And what about AE by EC? Since they are also, because E is the midpoint, that is also equal to 1. This is because of data, it is given in the problem. Therefore, we can say that AD divided by DB is equal to AE divided by EC is equal to 1 because of axiom number 1. Things which are equal to the same thing are equal to one another. Therefore, can you not say immediately that D is parallel to BC? The reason being, can anybody tell me the reason? What is the reason? Converse of BPT. If any straight line divides two sides of a triangle proportionally, then the straight line is parallel to the third side. So, by converse of BPT, see, we have proved that D is parallel to BC. So nicely we have proved this. Okay. So, the midpoint theorem which we have proved last year using congruent triangle concept, this year we could prove this using converse of BPT. So, this is the beauty of a basic proportionality theorem. So, take a sheet of paper, have two columns and write both the proofs side by side, children, and show it to your parents and teacher. So, compare the two proofs and come on, enjoy the beauty of mathematics. Okay. Yes. Now, we will go to another important problem, that is converse of midpoint theorem, children. Okay. It states that the line drawn through the midpoint of a side of a triangle parallel to another side, it is going to do what it is going to do? It will bisect the third side, children. This is called the converse of midpoints theorem. Children, this is the figure, data, and to prove, please go through it. So, in triangle ABC, we have point number 1, AE is equal to EB, and through that midpoint, you try to draw a line parallel to BC. If you do so, that line EF is going to divide AC into two equal parts, AF is equal to FC. This is what we have to prove. This is called converse of midpoint theorem. The above theorem can be proved using BPT in a very few steps, children. It is so nice. Shall we see this now? Okay. So, here is the same figure coming up to you on your monitor screen. So, look at the very cute proof. In triangle ABC, we have AE is equal to EB. It is because of data, and as well as AE by EB has to be equal to 1 in such a case, because they are equal by data only. So, now since EF is parallel to BC, come on, think of by BPT we can say that AE divided by EB is equal to AF divided by FC. But what about AE by EB, children? The value is 1, isn't it? Therefore, 1 is equal to AF by FC. On cross multiplication, this implies that AF is equal to FC. We got it, children. So nicely we could prove with the help of BPT. So wonderful, converse of midpoint theorem. We could write the proof in just hardly few steps. Don't you think it is so beautiful? This is the application of the Thales theorem and corollaries. So, in this fourth session, that is for chapter number 2, triangles, we have learned 3 very important corollaries to Thales theorem and some of its applications also. Okay. Yes. Children, in this fourth session for chapter number 2, triangles, we have learned the very important 3 corollaries to Thales theorem and some of its applications also. In the next session, children, that is in the 5th session, we shall learn the first and the foremost important fundamental theorem of similar triangles using 2 concepts, congruent triangles concept, which I have learnt in 8th standard, as well as BPT, that is what we have learned this year also. Using these 2, we will try to understand the next important fundamental theorem on similar triangles. So, can you take down the homework, children? 2 examples, worked examples and 10 problems of 2.2. Very nice. So, with all these things, my best wishes to you and thank you very much, children. Okay, I am T.K. Prasannamurthy from Bangalore, children. So, namaste. Have a wonderful time, children. Thank you very much.